We're going to call the Town of Rome Plan Commission public hearing and regular meeting to order for Tuesday, July 12th, 2022 at 4 o'clock p.m. Item number 2 is the roll call, starting on my right.
Jamadi here.
Baker.
Goldman.
Culverson.
Weisinger.
Commissioners Janzak and Williams are excused. Also present are Town Administrator Jamie Gebert, Planning and Zoning Administrator Emily Zeddies, and Town Attorney Nick Flanagan. Item number 3 is to certify the posting of the meeting. Emily.
The agenda for the July 12th Plan Commission meeting was posted at the following locations on June 28th, 2022. Rome Municipal Building at 4:44 p.m., Quick Trip at 4:48 p.m., Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 4:53 p.m. It was emailed to the Wisconsin Daily Tribune at 3:14 p.m., emailed to the town website at 11:32 a.m., and the legal notice was printed in the Wisconsin Daily Tribune on June 28th and July 5th.
Thank you. Item number 4 is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
So move.
I'll second it.
Motion by Lori, seconded by Larry to approve the agenda. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is the citizen comment portion of the agenda. Do we have any cards? Anybody wants to speak?
No, we
Okay.
did not, Chris.
Then 5A on your agenda is, Jamie's already pretty much explained all that to all of you as to how it's gonna work. Item number 6, informational updates, recent correspondence, current events or announcements. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring forward? Okay, hearing none. Joint CDA and Planning Subcommission Subcommittee review, do you wanna, anything to report there?
We did not meet today, just due to people's schedules and some illnesses, so we'll work to reschedule that meeting. But we have been both in the newspaper and at committee meetings and at community meetings reminding people that we're looking at the comprehensive plan and that information is posted under minutes and agendas on the town's website, both under CDA and Plan Commission. So if individuals have input on the town's comprehensive plan, now's the time to weigh in and provide that input, and the information is all in track changes, again, both under CDA and Plan Commission.
Thank you. 6B, Grants Committee review. Do you want to speak on that as well?
Yep, so the grants committee's met twice now. They have some action items for the next meeting. We are gonna reach out to the Legacy Foundation and see if we can get a presentation from them. We're also gonna reach out to Encourage, and although we know it would be a long-term and big goal, what it would mean if we did an endowment for the town of Rome. And then, in addition to that, we're still exploring needs for both community, residents, and businesses. So anyone that's listening or here tonight, if there is a need within the community that you would like to identify for the grants committee to do research on, that potential grant funding could be used for, either resident, business, or community at large, please provide that input to myself or to the town chairman, and we'll add that to the list.
Thank you. Item number 7 is to open the public hearing. 7A, consideration of a site plan of operation for Mackenzie and Glen Murray for the property located at 1158 Archer Avenue, also described as Lot 1 CSM 6247, located in the southeast quarter, southwest quarter of Section 20, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-00841-0015. Jamie, or Emily, I'm sorry.
It's okay. There were 11 notice letters sent to properties within 200 feet of the affected area. I believe Glenn is here today.
Okay.
Yes, and my wife Mackenzie. Good afternoon.
Whoa,
Is this on?
Is the button pushed?
is the red light on?
It is now. Thanks,
Okay.
Jerry. So just to add a little narrative to this application and request, Mackenzie and I have owned the property at 1158 Archer for 6 years now. And it was a parcel, 2 parcels that were combined to 8.6 acres. And we've recently completed a subdivision plan with the town and with Adams County.
CSM, not a subdivision.
Thank you, CSM. And so on one of the new lots that has been certified, we intend to build a tourist rooming house on that, and the site plan has been submitted as such.
has been approved by fire chief with that driveway over 200 feet.
Okay.
I'd also note that these properties are not short-term rentals. This is commercial zoning, so these properties fall under commercial classification as far as, when this is permitted, it will need a electrical permit from the county because it's commercial, and it will have, more fire inspections and criteria it needs to follow than our other properties do because it is a commercial property.
Thank you.
Does our 250-foot frontage apply to these lots? Because they are not meeting that requirement.
It is 100 feet. It is there's a 100-foot frontage requirement for commercial
Oh,
zoning.
because it's
For
commercial.
business zoning, I should say. Correct.
250 is only residential?
250 is,
250 is R4 and R5, so
Yeah.
rural
Certain-
residential.
Certain residential districts.
Okay.
I think it's 70 in R1 and Lake District.
Correct,
Yep.
70.
Yep. I know it's an unusual parcel because it's zoned commercial there right at that corner.
Could you please explain again why the counties would supersede the town's zoning?
It doesn't, not the zoning, the permitting process.
The
So the
permitting process.
town does not permit commercial electric. That's handled through the county.
Okay.
So just also to
It's
be
the
clear that
permitting.
it's the permitting process.
Okay,
When it's
thank you.
commercial and standard, there's a higher level.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner questions for these folks? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
7B,
Is there any public
I'm
comment?
sorry, I'm sorry, is there anybody that wishes to speak regarding this item? Thank you. 7B, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 1065 Kingsway, owned by Deborah Eberhardy and Raymond Severson, also described as Lot 6 of the Ancaster addition to Lake Sherwood, southwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-1832. Emily?
There were 10 notice letters sent to the properties within 200 feet. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 8 and maximum vehicles of 4 to be parked on hard surfaces. Just a reminder that all conditional use permits this is one requirement for the short-term rental license. The applicant must comply with all other short-term rental requirements before first rental occurs. And then, Ray is here.
Good evening.
Hi, guys. Hi,
What would
ladies.
you like to tell us?
Just my wife and I have owned the property 2 years. This was our original plan to do this, and we were deemed that it was not an option due to the covenants on Lake Sherwood. We discovered early part of this year that those have expired. So we moved forward with this plan and used everything that we could to make this happen for us. I believe we've got all of our ducks in a row as far as our reports and paid all the fees, and I think that we're ready to go.
Okay. Questions? Now, you live up in Rapids?
Yeah, we actually, our main home is in the town of, not Rome, in the town of Grant.
Okay.
So we're about 15 minutes away.
Are you gonna then act as the property manager yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm incredibly invested in it. I was just there. So we're very hands-on people. And if there's a blade of grass out of line, we're jumping at the opportunity. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions?
I would just note for Mr. Stevenson, tonight you had fire inspection items that need to be corrected.
Yes, those have all been emailed within a few days. The pictures of the smoke detectors. Originally, we were told that it was 1 per floor, and then we were told from our fire inspector that it was 1 per bedroom, which that's been rectified, and he has the pictures. And I have the email to prove that.
Okay. And then, and it's possible he just didn't copy me back on that, cause I still have that as an outstanding item, and then, building inspector, you did take out necessary permits? Those were completed?
Yep,
Yep.
that's all completed.
Okay,
But I can get that to you, Jamie, the
Oh.
email that I copied.
okay, you
If you-
can forward it on.
Yes,
Yep.
you bet.
And so we, just the understanding again that tonight is not approval of rental, tonight is approval of the conditional use. And so until the building inspector approves the pieces that you've taken out the permit for, you're still subject to citation for renting the property before it is licensed.
Okay.
So all permits were pulled and he's good, I'll send it over and then
Yep.
that'll be
It's just
in the
Dan
works.
has to sign off.
Okay. And timeline for that, roughly?
It'll depend on,
It's sent out today,
Okay,
so, according to his schedule. I
Okay.
can't really say.
but this
what his
is work
schedule
that
will
was
be.
previously completed, so he just has to inspect the
Okay.
previously completed work.
okay.
Have you had conversations with town staff regarding our calculation on the max number of permissible vehicles?
Yes. Yep. So our driveway can fit 10 cars, normal sized vehicles, based on the size of the driveway. And that's certainly ample to the 8 people that are recommended to be in there, so.
Okay, but you understand that the town is specifying a max number of 4 vehicles.
Okay. That I wasn't
I
aware
wasn't
of.
sure if you were aware of that, so if
Yeah.
you weren't and you want to ask questions, now's
Okay.
the time.
Okay. Noted.
Anything else from any of the commissioners? Anyone in the audience need to speak regarding this conditional use permit? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
7C, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 1662 Kingswood Trail, owned by Kyle and Rebecca McCon. Also described as Lot 253 to 254 Kingswood addition to Lake Arrowhead, northwest 1/4, section 14, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 30-3460. Emily?
8 notice letters were sent to the properties within 200 feet of the affected property. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 8 and maximum vehicles of 4. Nicole Fermel from Vacasa is here to speak on their behalf.
Go.
Me again. Same story with this one. I'm sorry, I'm losing a voice from allergies pretty bad. But we will manage the property as a short-term rental on behalf of these owners.
And I probably really hammered incorrectly their last name.
I think that's about how you say it. I say McCon.
Okay.
I think so. It's pretty close. They've never corrected me. So.
So on this property, Nicole, I reflect we still need a tourist rooming house license,
Oh, but we do have that, so I can email that one over to you.
okay? And then I don't have anything back from the fire or building inspector yet.
Okay, both of those inspections happened on Tuesday. I thought Kyle had reached out. They have to make some corrections on their building inspection for sure, and they're working on that. And Mark didn't, I haven't gotten it either to know if there were any violations, and Kyle didn't believe there were.
I think the one that was there was minor. I think it was a fire number being provided at the property.
Oh, okay,
It was a combined lot, and so they just needed to have the correct fire number listed.
perfect. I'll follow up with him too, because I know that Kyle was on site for all of them, so he hasn't relayed quite every detail yet.
Okay.
Any commissioner questions for this young lady? Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in regards to this potential conditional use permit? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
7D, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 1332A Arrowhead Trail, owned by John and Margaret Hamner, also described as Lot 76 of Rain Dance Addition to Lake Arrowhead, northwest 1/4, southeast 1/4, section 18, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 30-4010. Emily?
There were 12 notice letters sent out to the properties within 200 feet. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 8 and maximum vehicles of 4 to be parked on hard surfaces. John is here to represent them.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm John. My wife Maggie had to work, so sorry she couldn't make it. Been eyeing this area for a long time. I grew up playing golf up here as a kid, lived in Madison, and we bought a house in September on Lake Arrowhead. I'm a realtor and a property manager, so I've been in this business for quite a while. And we'd like to do it as a short-term rental. I don't know what else I need to offer up, but I guess I would have one question on the max occupancy of 8. We were hoping for 10. Cause there's 2 upstairs bedroom, 3 upstairs bedrooms, 1 downstairs. The upstairs bedroom's kind of like a kid's bedroom with double bunks.
Yep, let me just grab that.
While they look for that, can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
You certainly can, go ahead.
Just as I look at the permit application, so are you living at that location then?
No, we live in Windsor, Wisconsin.
Live in where?
Windsor, Wisconsin, hour and 10 minutes south.
And then follow-up question, do you have a property manager?
I am a realtor and property manager on my own, so I professionally property manage.
Property manager has to be within 25 miles,
Okay, and then we'll get one that's located within 25 miles.
24/7 phone service.
Right. I mean, I'm 24/7, but yeah, we'll get one.
Can you provide Emily then with do you have their current address in Windsor?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, because on the application, it shows the Arrowhead address.
Oh, sorry.
Showing your mailing address is Arrowhead. True.
Yeah, I have it on their short-term rental app. I
Okay.
have the
All
Windsor
right, sorry
address.
about that.
Any other commissioner questions for this gentleman?
I was just gonna explain the.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So we, base occupancy, we either calculate by square footage or based on bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We can only do 4 people per bathroom,
Makes
so
sense.
that gets your 8.
Got it.
And I show on this property, you still need your tourist rooming house license issued by Wood County.
I thought I had that all.
You can email it over.
Okay.
They still need your tourist rooming house license. Fire inspection is good. I need your proof of insurance that specifically states that the property is covered as a short-term rental, not general property insurance just for the property.
Mm-hmm.
And building inspector, I think, has been to property, but I just need his final report yet.
Are there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment on this conditional use permit? Okay, thank you, sir. 7E, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose, a short-term rental at the property located at 928 Essex Court, owned by Amy and Quinn Thiessen, also described as Lot 12 of Essex Addition to Lake Camelot, southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 15, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-5421. Emily?
There were 15 notice letters sent to the properties within 200 feet. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 8 and maximum vehicles of 4 to be parked on hard surfaces. Nicole Trammell is here again to represent this property.
Vacasa also will be managing Amy and Quinn's property. We know that they are still, excuse me, I'm sorry if my voice cuts out. They are still working through needing their building inspection and their fire inspection. I do have the report for the health department that just came through, so I can get that sent over to you via email.
And proof of insurance I still need yet for this one.
Perfect, I'll let them know.
Commissioners, questions? Okay, anyone in the audience have any comments they wish to bring forward for this property? Hearing none? Thank you. 7F, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 313 Dale Court, owned by Lake Sherwood, Wisconsin Cabins LLC, also described as Lot 33 of Scarlet Addition to Lake Sherwood, northwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-2501. Emily?
There were 10 notice letters sent to properties within 200 feet. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 7 and maximum vehicles of 4 to be parked on hard surfaces only. Seth is here to represent his property.
I think he's gonna defer to Nicole.
Oh, Nicole is here.
But Seth is here.
Okay.
Vacasa also will manage, our resident agent for the property that lives within the 25 miles, will also be managing this one. I believe from my understanding, all requirements are already met, needed for the short-term rental besides this meeting. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. You do have 2 letters provided by a series of property owners around this property tonight, though, and I believe one of them wanted their letter read out loud.
Do you know which,
Tyson's wanted their letter read specifically out loud.
Tyson?
Yep.
Okay. Want me to read it? Or are you gonna read it? Or Emily, you wanna read it?
Up to you. You.
Okay, I can read this. It's dated July 7th, 2022, to the Town of Rome Plan Commission regarding conditional use permit for the short-term rental at 313 Dale Court. Multiple members of our community, including myself, find the short-term rental prospect of 313 Dale Court as problematic if it includes access to our beach club. The Scarlet/Huntington Beach Club Outlot 1 is owned as tenants in common by 57 lot owners based upon the original plat of our subdivision. It is listed as an undivided fractional interest on each of those lot owners' deeds. And a copy of the deed language is attached, listed at the bottom of the page. For decades, we have posted signs both at the roadway entrance as well as the water's edge indicating it is private and is members only. General public access has never been acceptable. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars maintaining and improving the property over the years. I am certain that in 1968 and 1969, when Lake Sherwood was constructed and deeds were issued, the thought of future short-term rentals was never a consideration. I am also sure when each of the property owners obtained their properties, they did not fathom the idea that the public, through short-term rentals, would have access to part of their property. This is an issue that affects 43 owners of 57 different lots, not just the residents within 200 feet of the property, as the permit may allow access to the property that they own. Unless the beach club is specifically excluded in both the lease agreement and any advertisements for this property, we do not see how the character and stability of our residential area of the Scarlet/Huntington addition to Lake Sherwood is being maintained or protected. Thank you for your consideration. Gerald and Teresa Tyson, 1051 Scarlet Court.
So I have a question related to that. Something may have transpired at the last meeting, which I was not present. There was discussion regarding a beach club property, correct? And to date, we had excluded the use of those fractional ownership properties on Camelot. However, that property that was at the last meeting, there was no language excluding the use of the beach club. Did something change?
No, I believe there's only been one where it was a concern, and it wasn't usage. It was that they could not, if boats were allowed to be brought, they could not be parked at the beach club. That was what was in, but that hasn't been in all. It's always brought up as a consideration where we have these joint beach clubs, but I think there's only one on Bromley that actually includes that specific language that says that rental, if they bring a boat to the property, cannot park or use it from the beach club.
I have a question for Nick. I mean, this really doesn't impact our decision. We really don't, as far as I can know, don't have any say as to what happens at the beach club if they already have deeded access to ownership of the property.
I mean, there's, as that letter references, I think there's fractional interest in all those property owners to use it. I don't know if there's further limitations on that deed as far as use and who it applies to and where that can go, but we wouldn't enforce that. However, as was just mentioned, where there are considerations like boat use of docks and use of the beach clubs, we have at times put conditions related to that, which is definitely different than you just can't use the beach club. Does that answer your question?
It does. Commissioners, questions? We also did receive another letter in reference to this conditional use permit, opposing the use of the beach club area. Is there anyone then in the audience that would like to speak with this regarding this? Sir, you want to come up?
Can I just make a quick note?
Yes,
From
sir.
4 different families on that other letter.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that was clear, because they wanted me to reiterate.
Which one had four?
The
the
letter
second
did
letter?
not read was addressed by 4 different families,
Oh, I see.
or property owners, I should say.
Okay.
I'm Patrick Geib. I'm at 339 Huntington Court. And I'm concerned about the property at 313 Dale being considered for short-term rental. And the concern, as you heard from Jerry and other owners, is that we are concerned because of the liabilities involved in the beach club. We do understand that short-term rental is something that legally you can allow. I was part of the Lake Sherwood covenants going away, so I realize the changes in that. By the way, I'm the treasurer at the LSPOA as well. So I guess I would suggest that the short-term rental within the Lake Sherwood subdivisions be limited to the immediate property and not the beach club. In other words, not the undivided fractional interest or share. In Huntington Scarlet Beach Club, Jerry mentioned there's 57 owners, 57 lots, 43 owners. And this is different than Arrowhead, different than Camelot. We actually own this property. The association does not. On those other lakes, the association maintains those properties. The liabilities on those properties on the other lakes are with the association. With our property, it's all of the owner's liabilities to maintain the property. And every owner that's not on the water in our subdivision has that deeded undivided fractional interest in the beach club. Therefore, all owners are responsible and liable for the property. We've received, there's no limits in that undivided fractional interest, so there's not lines drawn with the 57 owners that this is your property. It's not something we can define to say you own this part of it. Everybody owns all of it. It's an undivided fractional interest. We've received advice from attorneys because we've had some conversations over the years that have indicated that if anything that goes on the beach must be approved or denied by all of the owners. You can't have a committee, you can't have people doing what they want to down there without all of the owners agreeing to it. So a short-term rental should be no exception. So if you're going to include the beach club in a short-term rental, that means you're including all of us in that short-term rental because we own the beach club. So in that case, our attorneys would say that all of the owners must agree to that. And I can tell you right now that with conversations that would never happen. And we have the same with the covenants. We have to get everybody to approve. So it's 100% approval for a beach club. And I believe the deed itself states that the interest in Outlot 1, which is the beach club, can only be passed when title is conveyed. I don't know if that makes a legal difference or not. But some of our concerns, for examples, are personal injury, damage to personal property, damage to the beach club property, damage to the boat launch. We have a boat launch on our beach club. Cleanup, parking, water rules, pets and animals on the beach club. All of these things are of a major concern that the owners right now take care of. But if we have a short-term rental, basically you have an uninterested party coming down and using the beach club. So if you are going to include the beach club, I would also suggest that you have not given proper notice, because the beach club is within 200 feet of that property, which means that all 43 owners or 57 lots would need to be given notice of this short-term rental. And that didn't happen from what I heard. So, let's see where I was, I'm sorry. So, I think at this point, we would like you to include language that says that the beach club is not part of the rental. We understand that the property that the home resides on, as if it were a lot on the lake directly itself, the property, they can use the lake. But at this point, they'd be using everybody's property, all 57 lots, 43 owners, and we all would become liable for whatever happens with that renter on the beach club. And that's a major concern, especially when you get to big things like personal injury. Those lawsuits can be huge. And actually, one of the attorneys suggested that if there is something that happens on the beach club, they'll look at that and say, oh, there are 43 owners that I can go after in our case, and other beach clubs I'm sure would be the same way. And I think you're just opening it up to major lawsuits for everybody, loss of money, loss of property, that type of thing, if you allow the beach club to be part of the short-term rental. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Please.
make a couple comments? So first off, the lines that were being referenced there, and what I was saying earlier, as far as restrictions on use, those aren't the same thing. What I am talking about with restrictions on use could be who can use it, right? And so there are a number of owners to the beach club. I would just remind you that what we grant short-term rentals for is the property. We're not granting a short-term rental for the beach club. We're not having anything to do with use of that beach club, and those owners, if they have a concern with the use of the beach club, have legal avenues that they can follow, and it sounds like they've been exploring. But your consideration here is for the short-term rental at the address on the application, not the use of the beach club. You're not making any determination about use of the beach club. There has been in the past a request for boat storage on a dock. I think that's the only time we put a condition that extended to anything other than the property. But in this case, there are a number of owners with an undivided interest in that whole that own the beach club, and they have certain rights, and they can invoke those rights, but not through you, because you are considering the short-term rental of an address that is not the beach club. Is that?
Sense?
Understand?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak regarding this short-term rental?
My name is Ann Pardoon, and I live at 1021 Kingsway, but I also own the property at 1019 Kingsway, which abuts the subject property, and I never received any notification of this. I also have the same concerns as shared with the beach club, but we're beyond that at this time. I'm concerned with the adverse interests that a short-term rental could cause for my rental property. Who are these people? Are they up to date on things like, as far as the management is, burn permits and fire-wise and water safety and those types of things? Is there anything within, their contracts for getting the short-term rental that cover those things. I also would like to share, I'm a little concerned about if we have too many short-term rentals. This kind of goes as a more broad spectrum statement. Do we have the resources for what these need from our city? So that's my concerns, mostly that I was not notified as a touching property owner.
So Ann, I reflect a letter being sent to you and Greg in McHenry, Illinois.
I have not lived in McHenry, Illinois for over a year.
So your taxes are still sent to that address? That's still what's in Adams County land records? And that's where we would have pulled that information.
Okay, well, the fact that I've lived here for more than a year full-time, my forwarding mail has stopped.
Yeah, but your tax bill will still be sent. I mean, what we reflect for Adams County land records is still McHenry, Illinois.
So was it returned to you?
It was. But we wouldn't have had any forwarding address if the forwarding had stopped. But there's an online way we can show you how you can update that with Adams County, so your tax bill and any other property owner information would be sent to the new address.
Okay.
Would you just sign, the paper, ma'am,
Oh,
that
sure.
you spoke regarding this, short-term rental?
This is a quick question for you. I might have misunderstood. Did you indicate you're also operating a short-term rental?
I am not. I live here
Okay.
as a full-time resident.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's what I thought I heard.
She has another lot, that's what she said.
At 1021 Kingsway would be your permanent address?
Yes, 1019 is the lot that
Is the
connects
lot-
to the
is next,
property.
Yep. And I showed 1021 also still reflects that McHenry, Illinois address.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak regarding the property at 313 Dale Court? Sir? Yes, please. Yep.
Please name and address, because it will
Sure.
be added to the record.
My name is Aaron Cordy. My address is 5563 State Highway 66. I was a property owner on Dover Court. I own two properties. I sold them. One of them was a speculation build, sold the other one with the property. Considering buying more properties in the area, and just wanted to make the meeting and just see what things are looking like for short-term rentals, investment properties, and just seeing the development of the town of Rome. My request from you guys, if you don't mind, is can you convey who the four family members were on this property? They wrote the second letter, and can we hear the second letter being read?
Sure. Did you, or would you like me to read it?
Either way.
You did such a good job.
Okay. It's dated July 10th, 2022. Dear Town of Rome Planning Commission, it is our understanding that the ability to rent properties on a short-term basis has already been approved by the Town of Rome and Adams County. On Lake Sherwood, the beach clubs are private property owned by many property owners. For the Scarlet Huntington Beach Club, do the rental agreements have language to cover the following items? Reimbursement to the beach club for any damages to private property. What is the reimbursement process? Liability clauses that renters are responsible for themselves and their family's safety. Beach club has no liability. The renters are responsible to clean up anything they are using on the beach club. Drunken and loud behavior is not tolerated. Watercraft cannot be parked at any of the beach club piers. Motorized watercraft should be placed in the water using the public launch. Pets need to be controlled by their owners at all times. Follow signs to park vehicles and do not park overnight. Having numerous renters each month will create additional wear and tear that will be an increased expense to the property owners on the beach club. How is this being addressed? In order to limit expense and liability, we would like to understand how these items will be addressed by the lease agreements. Regards, it says homeowners of 1050 Scarlet Court, Kilcoyne, Black, Weagle, and Kiriazis.
So I misspoke, they're all co-owners of the same property.
Oh, okay. What was the address on that?
1050 Scarlet Court.
Great. That's all I have, Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else regarding 313 Dale Court? Commissioners, anything else you want to bring forward? Okay. 7G, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. Short-term rental at the property located at 106A County Road Z, owned by Bernacchi County Z LLC, also described as Government Lot 2, Section 20, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-00047-0500.
4 notice letters were sent to properties within 200 feet. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 4 and maximum vehicles of 2. Mary is here to represent her property.
I don't really know what to say about this. This is the first time I've done one of these. My family, my husband died 2 years ago. I'm a widow. I live in Waukesha. My children, son-in-law and daughter manage a short-term rental in Green Bay, 1,000 feet from Lambeau. They're very familiar with some of the issues that you have to deal with in terms of upkeep and managing clientele and that kind of thing. They did not have to go through this kind of a process, so this is new to us. This is a new construction. It was built last summer. Al Edmondson is a local, lives in Wisconsin Rapids, and has been very supportive of this process. He built this with the intention for these to be used as short-term rentals. The unit is very good. I also bought a second unit. I actually considering potentially moving up here as I retire at some point in time, potentially. And we are looking forward. We've got it all prepared and it's ready to go. We think that it showcases your area in a very positive light. There's not a lot of hotel rentals. You've got a lot of wonderful sights to see and things to do, and we think that it's just a good area. We want to come up here for family vacations. My son-in-law and daughter also have a property management company, and we are talking to someone currently about potentially being the property manager near site, the 25-mile
Okay.
stipulation.
Okay, commissioners, questions?
Where is this property located?
It's a new construction. It's fairly close to Romano Pizzeria.
Okay, thank you.
It's the Orange Door condo.
And there's a yellow door one there now too.
Okay. Now I know.
It's very nice inside. You should see it.
Any other questions from the commission?
And I just reflect this property still needs its tourist rooming house license issued by Wood County. If fire inspection has occurred and building inspection, I just haven't received those reports yet, so we're waiting.
I was waiting for this as the first predicate, this meeting. So I know you've got to be able to get that, but I wanted to get through this part of the gauntlet first. So we'll get through the next part. It is a gauntlet, yes. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak regarding this property on Highway Z? Okay. 7H, consideration of the removal of short-term rental conditional use permits, CUP, for the following properties due to 12 months of inactivity. 456 Pro Trail, 1421 Rapids Trail, 265 Penhurst Way, 1459A Rain Dance Trail, 1683 North Aurora Lane, 385 Leeds Court, 986 Excalibur Court, and 1303 Arrowhead Trail. Emily?
These properties have been granted conditional use permits for short-term rental in the past, but have not renewed their short-term rental licenses for 1 year or longer. So therefore, the CUPs may be revoked and terminated per town ordinance section 360-27-3B. This item was included in the public hearing notice, and all of the listed CUP holders received a letter explaining that the CUP would be removed if their short-term license was not renewed in 2021.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would speak to any of these properties? Commissioners, any questions? Okay. Item 8 then is to close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Larry and seconded by Jerry to close the public hearing. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next section is to discuss and possible action on the following items. Number 9, discuss and possible action on the meeting minutes from Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. Everybody should have been sent a copy of them or received them electronically. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, second by Dan to approve the minutes from June 14th, 2022. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 10. Discussion of possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of the issuance of a site plan / plan of operation for Mackenzie and Glen Murray for the property located at 1158 Archer Avenue, also described as Lot 1, CSM 6247, located in the southeast 1/4, southwest 1/4, section 20, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-00841-0015.
Mr. Chairman, just one
Please.
general comment. Lots of findings of fact here. Numbers 10 through 16 all have findings of fact.
And everybody was provided copies for all those, I believe, so.
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Motion to recommend to the town board approval of the site plan and plan of operation, including findings of fact for property located at 1158 Archer Avenue.
I'll second.
Commission, could we please put a term to that? And I would potentially recommend that that not be indefinite, only because
Commercial.
people sell, things change, just so there would be, it wouldn't be forever and ever.
Is there a,
Well, the site plan and plan of operation, would that transfer to a new owner?
If it was substantially the same use,
So I think what you could put in there for a term would just be, or a condition, would just be for the current owners. And that solves it completely.
So I'll amend my motion to include that the term extend through the current property owner's term of ownership.
I'll amend my second. Oh,
we're past your comment part, sir, I'm sorry. What?
well, I guess I would have a question then for,
Clarify.
yes, please, Jamie, clarify then why you,
I think, because we've had situations where conditional uses are granted and there's no term on them. We can think of one situation where it was granted for something that now, 25 years later, we would never consider where it is currently located because of our growth and what is currently around it, but it would still be now allowed because it's in that conditional use, still has that conditional use permit.
So
That's
This
why,
is, but
But
this
this
isn't
isn't
a
a
I'm
conditional
sorry,
use.
Yeah.
sorry, site plan of operation. So
but it is a commercial property.
it is a commercial property and it does still have a term. So if the term would be indefinite, if it would sell to a different owner and they would wanna say, let's just put something totally different in there, they'd have to come back for that conditional use permit. Okay, we've talked it through. I think it could be, then the term wouldn't matter, cause let's say they wanna open up a printing business. That would be a substantial change to their design, to their operation, and it would have to come back.
Most cases, it's going to be substantial enough that they're going to need to get a site plan of operation approved again, which I think is what we've seen historically, is where there's a change in ownership. There tends to be enough of a change that a site plan of operation comes back before you all to consider.
Okay, but if there, the present use of the property would still abide by the site plan and plan of operation, so
Yes.
they can't make any changes to this property without coming back with that.
Correct, without doing a modification to the site plan
Right.
of operation. So for example, to that point, if there were a sale and something was totally changing, right, we would notify them and they would have to come back through you all for a site plan of operation modification.
The only reason we have a site plan on this one is because it's commercial property. Otherwise, we'd be considering this like any other cup for a short-term rental. Yes?
Correct. This goes through a different process because of the zoning designation on the property.
And there isn't anything there now, so it isn't like it was a lodging establishment and is being sold as a lodging establishment, since there's no other existing basis. It comes for that site plan of operation.
So what are we ultimately recommending here? Cause I'm ready to amend my motion again to go to indefinite to be consistent with any other.
Would you just
short-term rental.
withdraw your
Yes, just withdraw your
amendment
amendment.
to,
Yep.
I'll withdraw my amendment.
I'll withdraw my second of that amendment.
so then it's the approval of the site plan of operation for,
So then it's a motion by Bowman, second by Jamadi,
To-
to recommend to the town board the approval of the site plan and plan of operation and adopt the findings of fact as presented.
correct. Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion by the commission? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 11, discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. Short-term rental at the property located at 1065 Kingsway, owned by Deborah Eberhardy and Raymond Severson, also described as Lot 6 of Ancaster addition to Lake Sherwood, southwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-1832.
Question, some of these properties were missing various pieces of paperwork that need to be completed. Are you expecting us to list that out, or are we gonna have that covered by the findings of fact language?
It's not necessarily covered by the findings of fact. Just a reminder, and I think it's stated every meeting, that this is one step in the process. We have a ordinance that covers all of our requirements for a short-term rental license. And so what was reviewed with those property owners were pieces, components of our ordinance for our short-term rental license. This conditional use permit is a step in that. And I'm not sure that I heard anything that necessarily would need to be reflected as a condition, because they certainly would be prerequisites to getting short-term rental license. Your granting of the conditional use permit certainly doesn't allow them to start automatically short-term renting the property.
Okay, just wanted to be clear. I will make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for 1065 Kingsway, including findings of fact, max occupancy of 8, max vehicles of 4 to be parked on a hard surface, a property manager on file within 25 miles, and the term to be indefinite.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Jerry to approve the conditional use permit for 1065 Kingsway. Any other discussion, commissioners? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 12, discussion and possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 1662 Kingswood Trail, owned by Kyle and Rebecca McCoffin. Also described as lots 253 to 254 Kingswood addition to Lake Arrowhead, northwest 1/4, section 14, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-3460-0010.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit at 1662 Kingswood Trail, including the findings of fact, a max occupancy of 8, max vehicles of 4 to be parked on a hard surface, property manager on file within 25 miles, and the term to be indefinite.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Jerry to approve the conditional use permit for 1662 Kingswood Trail.
Just
Yes, sir.
one comment, so that term, it's indefinite, as long as the current property owner holds the town short-term rental license.
And that's included on findings of.
That's on everything that
It
we've
is,
done, so do we need to be saying something different?
No, as long as we're adopting the findings of fact as it's presented, but usually you're adding in those additional things that relate to conditions or term, and so I just thought we better clarify for the minutes that all of that is going to be consistent throughout these findings of fact.
So then we should probably modify our language that we're using when we're making these motions.
Just to that piece, yes.
Term to be indefinite to the current property owner. Does that work?
As long as they hold a short-term rental license.
Why can't we just incorporate that as a standard findings of fact? Same with the property manager. It's one we add every time, so. That's what I'm saying. Would just make things simpler if we.
It is
No,
located
he's
on,
saying the property manager piece.
which we could. We can add that to future findings of fact, just type that piece on also.
Right.
So when you adopt
It's
findings
sort
of
of a
fact.
standard.
Yep.
And so to that piece, just talking that further, because I think that goes to Mr. Goman's comments, these findings of fact could be prepared to have those recommendations.
Exactly.
Then your motion could be to approve the conditional use permit and adopt the findings of fact as presented. And then
Then all the occupancy and number of
If-
vehicles and hard surface will already be
If
on
it's-
the
if it's
findings
as-
of fact?
if it's presented to you that way, yes. If then you have other conditions that you want to add, then you say as presented with the additional conditions of X or Y or Z, right? So it makes it a little bit more difficult because it's kind of a template rather than presented to you. So you'll, for this meeting, you probably have to say it exactly like you're doing with that
Right.
additional language. In the future, we could propose to you at least a findings of fact, and if it's acceptable, you could adopt the findings of fact as presented.
Well, considering this is like the 90th time that we've done this, that would be great.
70th, don't exaggerate.
Okay, 70.
This, I'm assuming, won't present any more hardship for the staff to do that?
No.
Okay.
It'll be easier actually for us during the meetings, because we won't be viciously writing it down. Yeah.
So the motion's on the floor, made by Dan, seconded by Jerry to approve this conditional use permit. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 13, discussion and possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. A short-term rental at the property located at 1332A Arrowhead Trail, owned by John and Margaret Hamner, also described as Lot 76 of Rain Dance Addition to Lake Arrowhead, northwest 1/4, southeast 1/4, section 18, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-4010.
What are we doing with the term, so long as the short-term rental license is maintained?
Indefinite, as long as the current property owner holds a valid short-term rental license.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit at 1332A Arrowhead Trail, including findings of fact, max occupancy of 8, max vehicles of 4 to be parked on a hard surface, a property manager on file within 25 miles, and a term to be indefinite to the current owner, so long as the short-term license is maintained.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan, second by Larry to approve the conditional use permit for 1332A Arrowhead Trail. Is there any further commissioner discussion?
Yes.
Lori?
I'm gonna ask a question. After all that discussion again, I brought it up at a previous meeting that I don't think Dan was at, about the requirements being met. So I did bring up a stipulation one time when Jeff made a motion about a specific one being met before they could even allow the property to be rented out as a short-term rental. And I think it's important that those be listed so that it's understood by the person who has the short-term rental and us, so that it is in writing in the minutes and for staff, so that we don't ever have any future issues with that short-term rental owner and their property manager, or for us as the town, should any legal issues arise. So like in this instance where the rental manager said he wanted to be the person and he lives too far away, do we need to stipulate we want one within 25 miles, or are we just gonna let that be part of the motion that was just made and seconded?
So
Nick?
just to clarify,
Yes.
what you're talking about was an amendment to the conditional use permit.
Okay.
And so in that case, because they wanted to increase their occupancy, we weren't going to allow amending their conditional use permit to increase their occupancy
Okay.
until the building permit. So that was a very different set of circumstances. We're not talking about, in that situation, they had already gone through and got their short-term rental license.
Okay.
The conditional use permit set a previous maximum occupancy. They wanted to get a increase, but we hadn't completed the building inspector sign off. for that increase. So that was very appropriate
All right,
in that case.
thank you.
Mhm.
Just one,
And in this case, the point is that they will never get to short-term rental license if they don't have those requirements met. So by all means, you could list that, but why? I mean, you know,
Right.
only because we're already going to be checking those off before we
checking
never
those
grant it.
boxes before they ever,
Yes.
thank you.
Findings of fact, item 7C already addresses that. And also, I'll make comment that Emily's one step ahead of us. She's already got on here the term of conditional use shall be indefinite as long as current property owner holds a short-term license. So it's already on our findings of fact. You don't have to add that, no.
I just put all that effort into figuring out.
I still
I did see that.
think you do, because it's been presented to you as more of a template, and you're adding in certain pieces at such a point that it would be kind of all together, then you can just adopt the findings of fact as presented.
I'm saying it's already on.
I understand, but
Thank you.
again, it's kind of like a template right now. In the future, it sounds like we're going to present it to you as all of this filled in, and then you can just,
Adopt
you
it
can
as,
streamline it at that point.
thank you, Nick.
So I would ask that you read it in as you have.
Did we have a motion on that one?
You do.
We
Okay.
did. In a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 14, discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. Short-term rental at the property located at 928 Essex Court, owned by Amy and Quinn Thiessen, also described as Lot 12 of Essex addition to Lake Camelot, southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 15, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-5421.
Motion to approve the conditional use permit at 928 Essex Court, including the findings of fact, max occupancy of 8, max vehicles of 4 to be parked on a hard surface, property manager on file within 25 miles, and a term to be indefinite to the current owner so long as the short-term license is maintained.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Lori, to approve the conditional use permit for Essex Court. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 15, discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 313 Dale Court, owned by Lake Sherwood, Wisconsin Cabins LLC, also described as Lot 33 of Scarlet Addition to Lake Sherwood, northwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-2501.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit at 313 Dale Court, including findings of fact, max occupancy of 7, max vehicles of 4 to be parked on a hard surface, a property manager on file within 25 miles, a term to be indefinite to the current owner so long as the short-term rental license is maintained.
I'll second it. Motion by Dan, second by Larry, to approve the conditional use permit at 313 Dale Court. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 16, discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 106A County Road Z, owned by Bernacchi County Z LLC, also described as Government Lot 2, Section 20, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-00047-0500.
Motion to approve the conditional use permit at 106A County Road Z, including the findings of fact, a max occupancy of 4, max vehicles of 2 to be parked on a hard surface, property manager on file within 25 miles, and a term to be indefinite to the current property owner, so long as the short-term rental license is maintained.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Jerry, to approve the conditional use permit for 106A County Road Z. Is Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 17, discussion of possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of the removal of short-term rental conditional use permits for the following properties due to 12 months of inactivity. 456 Pro Trail, 1421 Rapids Trail, 265 Penhurst Way, 1459A Rain Dance Trail, 1683 North Aurora Lane, 385 Leeds Court, 986 Excalibur Court, and 1303 Arrowhead Trail.
I move that we move the consideration of the removal of the short-term rental conditional use permits for the following properties due to the 12 months of inactivity of 456 Pro Trail, 1421 Rapids Trail, 265 Penhurst Way, 1459A Rain Dance Trail, 1683 North Aurora Lane, 385 Leeds Court, 986 Excalibur Court, and 1303 Arrowhead Trail.
I'll second for discussion.
It's a recommendation to
That's-
the
I was just
town
gonna say
board.
that. Yeah.
Is that what I said?
No.
No, I'm sorry. I'll amend it to say recommendation for the consideration of removal.
I'll accept that.
There's a motion and a second to recommend to the town board to remove the short-term rental properties. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 18 are next agenda items. Jamie?
I have
We have a whole series of short-term rentals again. I don't think we have any site plans or zoning amendments. And hopefully, I don't know, our joint, since the joint committee got canceled today, I don't know that we will have language to you yet about accessory buildings and canopies. It will depend if we can reschedule that before the next meeting and still have that added to the agenda.
Okay. Lori?
I have one I'd like us to start discussing, if possible. I brought it up once before. I'd like us to start looking at the procedure that is in place for short-term rentals. I believe this was prior to my being reelected to the town board and being placed on this committee. There was an extensive packet provided to this commission, I guess at one time, from the Building Inspection Division Zoning Department, from the city of Madison on short-term rentals. And I think it might be a good idea for us to start looking at, we have discussed since I've been on this commission, about reviewing our process for the short-term rentals. And I'd like us to start taking a look at that and maybe considering that maybe it doesn't have to be in the conditional use arena, conditional use permit arena. Maybe there's a better way for us to be processing this. There's quite an extensive packet that you were all given with all the different forms. And maybe we can take a look at that, review that.
We would have to look to see if there's even something, I know we met in the community room, so it had to be over a year ago, cause that was during COVID timeframe when that packet was distributed. So we'd have to look to see from the city of Madison if they have any updates. The city of Madison also has an extensive packet because they allow you to rent while you live in your house.
Right, and that's one way also, I believe there was some discussion as limiting possibly some of the rentals as more and more of these are permitted with maybe some of the new builds, the density in some of our neighborhoods or districts, as far as some of the new builds, that it would limit it to, people that rent their
Can
residents.
limit to amount of time frame in a year. I don't believe that you can limit the number of properties. So I do believe that the city of Madison has a piece where you can rent for half a year. You can rent your property for 180 days. You can't rent it for a full year.
Right.
You can, I think you can select when your 180 days start, but you wouldn't be able to restrict totally
Correct.
additional rental.
Right,
In
and
other
I
words,
had-
they so we are allowed by statute to explore and limit that 180 days. What Madison is doing is beyond that, if you want to continue to rent outside of that 180 consecutive days, that you need to reside in the So it's-
But what I'm primarily talking about though is our process and simplifying it and tying up our plan commission here with short-term rental approvals all the time and getting down to looking at our ordinances such as accessory buildings, canopies, this sort of thing, and looking at the short-term, simplifying that process and making it easier. And we've had that discussion, and Nick had summarized it very good in one of our previous meetings that I believe Commissioner Goldman was on a business trip and did not attend, and Nick had summarized it quite well for us.
We can add it to the agenda for next month and we can continue that conversation, certainly.
And I was just using this packet from Madison that had been provided once before. Doesn't have to be the only example.
Yep, I think we just also want to clarify, Madison is more restrictive than us. I mean, if that is what, and we would have that conversation when it's in an agenda item, but
But to simplify the process is one of the main goals, I think, is to just not tie us up with these all the time, that we sit here for hours and can't really get to some of the things that we really need to think about as we're reviewing our comprehensive plan for land use in the town.
So let's have a quick conversation about next agenda items on should we had put accessory structures and canopies with the joint committee. We can add those as agenda items and we can limit the number of short-term rentals that are on the next so we can have a more extensive conversation about those and take that back from the joint committee. We had just had the conversation here that the joint committee could spend some time doing a deeper dive, but if the committee would prefer to see those on the agenda, we will add those to the agenda for next time and we'll limit the number of short-term rentals that are on the agenda.
How many short-term rentals are in the queue?
6?
Why don't we just hammer those out?
And I
We'll
wasn't.
have 6 again by next month. I mean, at this pace, I mean, you've had 6, at least 6 for every month.
Okay, well, if there's anything that we need to be focusing on here, is it's how to improve that situation so that we can focus on things the plan commission should, so.
And I'm not necessarily saying taking those 2 items back, that's fine, if that's part of the comprehensive plan and that's what this commission had originally determined. But one of the items I'd like for us to talk about maybe is signage in the town when it comes, in the Gateway District. And we've discussed that, and I've talked to you and Em about that, is new businesses coming into town and signage in the Gateway District. Is that something that we could start reviewing with our commission?
We will add all those agendas then, all those items to the next agenda and we will limit that number.
It's just topic for conversations, it ties our hands, and we've talked about simplifying this process, so.
Limit the number of what?
Limited number of short-term rentals that are on.
I disagree with that. I
Yeah.
think the town they're gonna get themselves into trouble here if we start limiting and throttling short-term rental applications, just
Well,
because
that's
it's not
what I'm saying
convenient.
at all.
Well,
But that's the path it's going down. Let's just, if they're ready for the next agenda, put them on the next agenda.
Right. Regardless.
I think we have an internal cutoff. Internally, our procedures has a cutoff date, and we have used that.
Yeah.
But probably a good idea to not set a
Yeah.
limit already.
Right.
Oh.
on the
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Can't be
suggesting that at
delaying
all.
those rental applications at this time of the year especially. That's
Yeah.
not fair.
That's not what I'm suggesting
Well,
at all.
60 days is what we try to achieve where everyone comes in. So, I mean, there are some that will come in that will have to go to the next month because they come in after posting, right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
happens.
And
Set the
again, for the
time
record,
limit.
that's not what I'm suggesting at all.
Okay. But we will still add those other items back so we can have those conversations,
Including the subcommittee items?
including the subcommittee items.
That's not,
You don't want to have the subcommittee, I
not
mean,
those 2 items that were sent down there already, no.
okay.
That was given to the subcommittee, let the subcommittee handle it.
Right,
Okay.
I didn't suggest bringing them back. That's not what I said.
Well, I just heard an interest in those coming back
Right.
quicker to plan commission. And if that's not the interest, then they can stay at the
That's not
subcommittee,
what I
that's
said.
fine. But we can add signage if you would like to the next plan commission.
Somewhere on the agenda that it comes up in the future, yes, please.
Okay.
Are we going to make the findings of fact all-inclusive, so you guys just say, and findings of fact?
I would suggest that, make it a lot simpler and easier
Sounds good.
for the process. Same on every one of them, basically.
I do feel like we have a fairly streamlined process.
Right, this just tweaking it a little bit.
And then when you go forward, I mean, if you wanna add to that findings of fact, it's an easy thing to do, otherwise it would just be as presented.
I understand you have to read them all through, but it's a real value, I think, in having it be a conditional use permit.
I just recall Commissioner Goman and others saying that, put them down to a subcommittee, so in the future, I'm just saying, let's have those discussions. I guess maybe I dreamt that, so excuse me.
I was just talking about the findings of fact.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Wait, okay, Albert, 19, your next meeting date and time is August 9th at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And really, we don't need a motion to adjourn. I can
we
legally
don't.
adjourn the meeting myself, so we'll call this meeting officially adjourned at 5:17 PM.
Thank you.